There's a certain element of problem solving, Lauren, which you described. They're in the flock and they have to kind of compute their near neighbors and readjust. That is sort of a computation and a problem solving almost in real time. But you've also discussed kind of emotion associated with flocking and with singing. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Well, so when we watch these starlings forming the flocks that actually coincidentally you're seeing right now perfectly on the slide, they'll sing in these flocks, and they just sing, and they're not looking at one another. And there are other birds that do this. They join these flocks.
Isn't this kind of what we're doing right now?
Yeah, well, maybe not what we're doing up here,
but they're
a flock of people. We get together, we chit-chat. Why do we do that? Why do we hang out? For no real important immediate reason. It's important for social development, developing bonds and things like that. But we often get together because it feels good. And so I kind of, we talked about how you start new areas of research and sometimes you meet resistance. And so to ask a bird if it feels good, I mean, that doesn't sound like a real scientific question, but I want to say that Darwin said that during the breeding season, birds sing to attract mates, but outside the breeding season, they sing for their own amusement. And we thought perhaps birds, perhaps they are singing for their own amusement, but that this would be really important. It needs to be self-reinforcing to sing so that you can learn your songs. And so we've done some studies where we asked birds, does it feel good to sing? And what we did is we dipped into studies that are in psychology, where people use things, it's called a condition-place preference. And so what you do is you take a bird and you let it sing in a certain place, and later you say, do you prefer that place? And birds that sing in these flocks, they develop strong associations for place that was associated with that singing behavior. And so we interpret that to suggest that birds are singing, at least in this context, because it is self-reinforcing, it is rewarding. And the place they'd normally sing is the flock, and so we think that singing in these flocks really does kind of bond them to the flock. So it's a little bit similar to us humans, chit-chatting. We do it because it feels good, and it can contribute to social bonding.
Now, speaking of social bonding, you just said that social experiences like dancing, that only vocal learners can learn to dance.
Yes.
And this is sort of, this is like Saturday night at Pioneer Works. I think this is quite amazing that these birds are dancing. You were a dancer, Erich.
That's right, yes.
And did you feel that there was this kind of expressive aspect of dancing that was fundamental?
Yeah,
You guys want to see that again, don't you?
Yeah, I started out as a dancer, here in New York City. High School Performing Arts was at Albinelli School and Joffrey Ballet, and I was going to become a professional dancer and decided to switch to science. But I didn't think my science would later on take me to dance. And back in 2009, when it was discovered that only vocal learning species can learn how to dance, this is now bringing me full circle. By the way, I still dance. It's more salsa now than what I used to do before, but jazz and ballet. But yes, and so discovering that only vocal learners can learn how to dance, now we're looking into the neurobiology of dance and that relationship. And the hypothesis we're working with now is that when you evolve this brain circuit that takes hearing sounds and feeds it into the brain pathway that produces sounds, you need a rapid integration of hearing sounds and motor output for those sounds. And by integrating those circuits in a very rapid fashion, I think that contaminates the rest of the motor system that allows our other body muscles, not just our voice box, but other body muscles to move to sound in ways that other species can't. Yeah.
It's really...
Can I add something on the problem solving here?
Yeah.
So we did a study with songbirds upstate New York, and we also found that the more advanced ability of imitation you have, the better you are at solving problems in songbirds, right? So blue jays are really fantastic. Zebra finches that we studied in the lab weren't great.
At imitation?
And imitation.
Okay.
Like the species that have better ability to imitate other species sounds, including human speech, are better problem solvers. So I call this the vocal learning complex. The ability to imitate sounds, the ability to dance, and the ability to be really good problem solvers. Somehow those three come together.